Anxiety and stress, so debilitating. But why does it happen? What causes stress? The brain needs to be able to predict what's happening next. And that's the whole point of creating skills and processes, which is what the cerebellum does. So everything we do regularly, the brain, the cerebellum specifically, turns it into a process so we know what's happening next, so we can deal with it without having to think about it. But if the cerebellum isn't doing its job, all of those many things that happen to us haven't been turned into a process, the brain hasn't got anything to predict what's going to happen, and it gives us huge amounts of stress. It makes us extremely anxious. Now that's bad enough. But sometimes when we run out of space here to worry, the brain can even hand over control to what's called the reptilian brain, and we can actually go into panic. We go into fight or flight. And that's even less understood by people, because folk in panic, it's assumed that you can tell them, pull yourself together and it's going to work, and it doesn't work. So be very conscious about what causes stress. It is caused initially by the cerebellum not creating all of those processes so that the brain knows what's happening in any situation and is comfortable with it, because it's seen it before and it's remembered. It may have seen it before, but if the cerebellum hasn't done its job, it hasn't remembered, it's forgotten, it's not retained it. And that pushes up the whole stress level. No one chooses to be anxious, and no one can do something about it if you tell them to pull themselves together. All sorts of chemicals have developed in the brain, and you've got to wait for those to be dispersed before the stress levels will go down. Fundamental cause of the problem: the cerebellum, the skill development center, not doing its job properly.